See Mike from Data Ethics for All, I think. And Viola.
Sorry about that. It was taking me a minute to get to my controls.
I'm going to go on mute, guys. I have a sore throat, so I'm trying to preserve my voice. So, Susanna, you can get started. We are live. Okay. Hello, everyone. This is our webinar, more like a question and answer session for our Global South in AI meetup at NeurIPS. We are very proud to say that we have been accepted at NeurIPS for 2022 to host a affinity group meetup. And this is the first one for the Global South in AI languages. And so we are very proud to be the officiators of such an important dialogue, a community dialogue, and that is the whole point of this meetup. It's not like we know everything, so that we hosted a meetup. We want to know more about the struggles that people are facing within the Global South languages and the language models that is being built by the people for the people in those regions. So I would like to start off with, because I'm going to take this as a survey opportunity and also as a community opportunity, and ask everyone to tell me why you are here and what have you learned so much about the promotion materials that we have put out, and what kind of questions you have for us. So since everyone has a little bit of, shyness, I will pick Mike.
Oh, thank you very much. Next time I'll lurk in the back longer. No, thank you very much. Yeah, no, I was very excited to learn about this session because I've been working with conversational voice AI for 5 or 6 years, but also on privacy and trust. And I'm interested to network with other people who, share those interests. And sort of like you mentioned, I don't know everything, but I find I learn a lot by listening to other very smart people like Sam, who I see is on the call, and Regina and everybody else. So I appreciate you putting this on today.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And Aisha too? Are you still here?
Yes. Did you ask me the same question?
Yes, I would like to know, what have you understood about the Global South in AI, and what is your take on our initiative?
My understanding is that this is a very pertinent issue, preserving languages for future generations and using AI to do so. And in order to develop tools, NLP tools that are appropriate for the different languages that exist out there, we need a Global South perspective to look at it, right? So what I understood is, of course, that you're looking for people who are also as passionate about this topic as you, who put out this call, to together find solutions that maybe we can learn from one another in this kind of journey towards developing this approach. So I'm coming, of course, from a background of really being interested in preserving the Hausa language, because that's what my cultural heritage is. But of course, while having done some attempts on my own before, I realized there's some challenges, and I think this is something we can work on together, because these challenges we share actually in these various languages that are low resourced.
Yeah, low resource languages. And so you use that technical term, low resource versus high resource languages. And what do you think are the high resource languages, and how is AI language development being used in the industry currently, and where have they left us hanging? So in your opinion, can you give a short intro to that?
So you heard me say low resource languages. These are languages for which there aren't enough data sets out there or language corpora. And you need those in order to develop tools like chatbots or speech to text recognition. You know, when you're like traveling somewhere and you have an app and you speak into it and it translates it into another language. There aren't even enough data sets out there for those so-called low resource languages to have such simple apps developed. And by contrast, if you look at high resource languages, these are languages that have a lot of data sets out there. So for example, there's German, there's English, there's French, those languages that are highly used all over the world. You find a lot of resources on the internet and elsewhere to develop these kind of tools, because most of the internet, for instance, is in English, but there are 7,000 languages out there. So what happens to those, right? So 2,000 languages alone on the African continent. So we really need to catch up so that we can develop tools with language data sets that can help those countries on the global south. So you could develop, for instance, a conflict prevention tool if you had those data sets. You could develop tools for agriculture, also with language data sets. You could help people to understand each other in the same continent, one another, right? So it helps understanding, it helps with communication. You could develop really great health apps if we had those data sets. So it's really urgent, actually, that we develop those, because many languages are dying out as well. So this is a way to preserve them and to ensure that it doesn't get lost with those older generations that still kind of are holding the memory of the past.
Yes, that is a great introduction to what we are trying to do here. So what Aisha too was saying was about how, high resource languages, mostly Western languages, are the ones that are actually being developed a lot in the AI NLP space. And the low resource languages, which is pretty much most of the world's other languages, are completely left out, and are not only left out, but when they are being developed, when devices like voice assistants are trying to develop languages from my country, from India, from where I was born, they are just using it as a way, simply as how fast the model can understand a language, from English to Hindi. So it's like a direct translation from English to Hindi and Hindi to English, or, from Tamil to English and English to Tamil. And it's not about having the cultural data set included in that. What Aisha too was saying, it's about, knowing what that integral part of the cultural history is not being translated or transferred into those models. And so this kind of learning that people from Aisha tools and I know from other communities that are trying to do are now secluded in their own silos. They don't get the same kind of global spotlight that other languages get. And the whole point of Global South in AI Meetup is to make sure that those solutions that are being developed by people like Aisha too also get the same kind of spotlight. And the best spotlight you can get is at NeurIPS, we think, because that is one of the largest AI conferences, and that's why we decided to host it over there. And they accepted our proposal to host it over there. So now I've talked to Mike and I talked to Aisha too. I'm going to pick Regina now, if she is online.
Hello. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I'm actually here because I saw a tweet that this was going to happen. And I am a neuroscientist that's recently working with data science. And I'm from Guatemala. It's a small country in Central America. And we do speak Spanish here. And there are resources in Spanish. But I was doing my master in data science not long ago with other Latin American people. And all the resources for explanations and stuff in data science are always in English. So it's not even about the models we use. It's the resources to even learn how to do AI, because the programming languages are in English, the words that we use are in English. So all of my fellow students that didn't know the language will be behind. And that is also talking about the language that is well recognized and taught in a lot of parts of the world in Spanish. But still there, in my country, this is really small country, we still have 43 Mayan languages that are forgotten by everyone, even by the people that are here that don't speak about them. There's a lot of racism involved, sadly. So if you're going to pick a language to use, it's going to be, the Mayan languages are going to be the last ones. We don't even have resources for students in their own languages when we're talking about textbooks and stuff, right? Because we're forcing people to learn Spanish, right? And if we want people to learn AI or any other thing, we have to force them to learn English too. So there's a change of lack of opportunities for people there that I always feel that it's too unfair, right? And it's not only in language, it's the images we use to train other models, right? The cultural concepts that we use to train everything, and then we sell as AI for everyone, but it's never been for everyone. So I guess that's why I'm here. I'm kind of curious to see what can we do on what's other people in the South experiencing too.
Yes. And you, people like you and Aisha are already doing those things, right? You know, trying to bring awareness to it. And what you need is a space for you to be recognized and for your research to have some spotlight. And I think that's what the Global South in AI meetup is hoping to accomplish, and to bring everyone together to have a dialogue in that space. I will go more into details on what we plan to do. I'm going to call Babi Tapa next. If you are able to speak, I won't put you on the spotlight if you are not able to, or you are on another call.
Oh. I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
Thanks for asking.
Okay. Let me call on Sam.
Hi, Susanna. How are you doing?
Good, good. How are you, Sam?
I'm well, thank you. Very well, thank you very much. Yeah. What was the question? Would you like me to just go through? No, I've written down my notes, but I just found that what Michael was saying about the importance of voice in language being one aspect, and what Regina's just mentioned about images and the concept of culture embedded in images as well is really important when we look at the Global South. For me, it's about preservation of our identities and our cultures. I think we've made a good point as well that we don't capture sufficient language knowledge in our models in NLP. I work in the NLP space. We focus on particularly European Western languages. I speak Spanish myself and some French and German, so I can see it from that perspective. But I also know that there are minority languages or low resource languages that aren't included in these different vectors, so voice, text, and images. And we need to seek that out and build our models to include that data. There's millions of people that can't access this content, and we need to open that up to these communities. It's important to their culture, it's important to their history, and to the future preservation of their culture for future generations as well. So that's really important. It's part of who you are. So
yes.
Yeah.
And it has to be like Aisha mentioned, you know, the solutions that she was talking about, like you know, conflicts within each countries and agriculture uses and health data uses, and even traveling, you know, the things that you want to find in an area. If you are, you know, talking into a language app or a chatbot, it has to understand the cultural context when you are talking into it in your own language and being able to translate it back to you. And the solutions are local. It is the AI chatbots and the AI voice assistants that people are trying to develop in the Global South are to solve the local problems there. And that understanding has to come from the Global South itself, and people are developing those solutions and giving them international acclaim and, awareness, bringing their stories to the forefront is one of the key areas that we want to do at the Global South in AI. So it's not like we are asking other communities to come and develop and help us out in the Global South. We are saying that the Global South is actually ready to help itself, just to give us an awareness and, the spotlight and the resources to help ourselves and to be part of the community that develops the next AI revolution, which is going to be in languages, which is going to be in voice. So next I can call Sonia. I just saw you online.
Hi. Hi,
Yes.
everybody.
So we were just asking, like, what did you understand about our Global South initiative from the promotions that we put out?
Yeah, I think that every culture has rich documents, rich documents in which they can extract in very resourceful and useful information. But unfortunately, most of these documents, when we I remember I'm an assistant professor. Let me give you an example to clarify this. In one of the examples, my students wanted to solve a problem related to society, and I told them to go and analyze, the text, the tweets, for instance. But on that, in that time, I think it was 4 years ago, we didn't have any Farsi language text mining, methods and tools. So my students were not able to extract information. So my student had to go and analyze, English language text. So based on those English language texts, we, concluded something and related it to Iranian culture. But, Iranian culture is completely different, or Indian culture, or South culture, Latin American. Every culture has its own unique capabilities and its unique characteristics, So unfortunately, we cannot generalize, the information, the insight that we are extracting from English documents into the specific context of, South or other, non-English language countries. So I think this is very important and very informative for these countries, because, analyzing this context, this text, rich text, because that many South countries has very historical backgrounds, and they have very even ancient documents that extracting them will give in historical insight about those the social and political context of these countries. And so that would, this initiative is, I think, is very valuable, and really appreciate. I myself, I really appreciate this effort, and I'm sure that it's going to help a lot, to helping many problems that we cannot generalize from the context of, English language countries to non-English language countries.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for there, or the language or the culture there. Same way for, I see, a lot of chatbots and voice assistants are developed using the languages that I grew up talking in. And I can see that it has absolutely no understanding of the orthology, which is orthology or orthography of, the language itself. There is no understanding of it, and it is being used as it's like a translation to translation. The United Nations has a very good, when you go and see a job opportunity for a translator versus an interpreter at the United Nations, they make a difference between the two. A translator is someone who translates words from one language to another, just like that simple translation word to word. And an interpreter is someone who actually interprets what was the meaning of what was said from one language to another. And we don't have that. We don't have interpretation anymore in AI language learning models.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
cannot come without having the people, local people develop those solutions, right?
Exactly.
In pronouncing your name?
Yes, hi. It's Muskan Mahajan.
Muskan Mahajan.
Right on. So I also came to this webinar through the tweet shared by Mrs. Sudha. However, the very event about how we are making projects and posters for NLP for language and maybe propelling the area of low resource natural language processing, that's very valuable to me, because I currently volunteer at a non-profit where I'm trying to create a chatbot which will help my group of mentees whom I've been teaching English since the past 1.5 years to learn English. So yes, even I am struggling with one major challenge, and that is making my chatbot robust to the grammatical errors that is made by them, because the data, GPTs, the transformers, they trained with a lot of data, but it's very grammatically correct. It's more Eurocentric, more American in the way it's created. However, the way in which they interact through charts, even if they try their best to converse in English, uh, they still can't reach to that level. So that's my motive. I'm trying to gather more data set for Indian English, if that makes sense, the kind of
Yes.
Indian English spoken by the EFL learners in India. So yes, I'm very excited to learn about what all people have to say about developing NLP in the language of their own choice, and yes, get into the questions.
Yes, that's very succinct, how you said that, there is like, even when you learn a second language, that language itself has its own context that is different from the original language. So for me, Hindi is a second language. It was not my first language. My first language to learn to read and write was English. My mother tongue is Tamil. So I am in this confused state whenever somebody asks me to translate something into Tamil. First, I have to think of it in English and then translate to them in Tamil. Even though I speak Tamil, that is my mother tongue. So the same thing happens when I'm switching back from Tamil to English. It's goes through a different neural pathway, I think. And maybe we have a neuroscientist here who can explain that. It's this complex thing. And while I'm doing that, people who may not be from the same area that, that I grew up in, or who might be an English, a native language speaker listening to me, they might think, she's not making an intelligent articulation of the points here. But they don't know the mess that is going around in my head, trying to translate everything back and try to bring it to an understanding to the person that I am talking to. Something like this became very clear to me when I was listening to one of the voice assistants at a company that I was working for, in which they were trying to develop a Hindi language chatbot, voice assistant. And it actually said something when we say thank you back, or, the English version is you are welcome, which is you are welcome, or, and there is another one, Indian version, which says don't mention it. And there are like different responses, conditional responses we give when somebody says, thank you. And it looks like this Hindi translation that was fed into the AI voice assistant was a direct translation from you are welcome to Hindi. So when someone said, thank you to the voice assistant, it said something related to you are welcome back in Hindi. And I was really shocked. Oh my gosh, we don't say that we don't say you are welcome back in Hindi. So that's what's happening. And that's why it's so important for us to have those people who are speaking and living in those countries develop the AI solution.
Susan, I have one point, that I was studying in US and I was living in Iran, Iran. And I went and I heard a word Okay, I heard a word in, and I thought in that English word, okay, means something very insulting in Iran, in Persia, in Farsi. So, and I was shocked that people are using, and this is the name of one of the famous, philosophers, So, and I was very shocked that his name and the word that person used, and I asked him why he's using that word. He told me, Sonia, this is the meaning of this word. But the meaning of that specific word was really different in my culture, So that was, we have to consider that too. Insults that, can be generated from the different meaning of words in different cultures, Sorry to interrupt you, but insults that, can be generated from the different meaning of words in different cultures, Sorry to interrupt you, but
no, that's such a valid point. We may not even know how we are insulting other cultures, how the meaning
exactly
changed.
Yeah.
That only a person who speaks the colloquial language will understand that, understand it. And everyone there who was working didn't get that. That was an anomaly there. That was an anomaly reaction from the voice assistant saying you are welcome back in a Hindi translated way. But you have to have someone in the room to point that out, right? You are saying something, but you are muted. We still can't hear you.
Yeah, right, Susan, right. Sorry.
We can't hear you, Muskan. For some reason, I'm not sure something. I know you unmuted yourself, but still we can't hear you. Okay, you will rejoin. That's good. Okay, so I'm now going to share screen. I know I went off track from what Sudha Jamthe instructed me to do last night, which was to follow a PowerPoint that she created on Canva. But I really wanted to know and understand what was the on the ground truth of what people who are coming together for this webinar, what is their understanding of our initiative. And I think I feel really good that you all are here for the right reasons and you have a good understanding of what we are trying to do. So I think I can skip that PowerPoint if Sudha will not be so mad at me. And I know I have to be Sudha's voice today, which was such a big very ginormous task for me because I don't know how to be her voice. Her voice is much larger than mine and her intellectual capabilities are much larger than mine. So I would not be able to match that. So I'm just going to go and share the screen. Okay, you have to enable sharing for me, Sudha. The screen so that I can share our website and walk people through the. I will come back to the chat because I can see the chat is popping up. But can you? Okay. Oh, multiple participants. Okay, now. What is it saying? Done. Thank you. Let me find the website. Okay. And this is our website. And all thanks goes to our amazing intern, Paria Sareen. She's not here today, but let me show you her picture. That's Paria Sareen to the right. She's a high school intern and she built this beautiful website for us. It's so well done and so amazing. And she put it together in a short amount of time. And this whole program came together in a short amount of time. And we were submitting to NeurIPS almost near the end. And then we got approved and she had to work against the clock to develop everything so that we can launch it and make sure that people can apply and get approved and be able to come to NeurIPS in time. So this is our website. Maybe Sudha, you can drop the link for people there. It just is, I know the URL is a little complicated, but it's actually, it will take you, if you put globalsouthinai.org, it will take you here. So as you can see, as everyone has beautifully, articulated what was the mission statement for us. It is one thing for us to articulate what we are trying to do when the people that you are trying to reach articulates it for you. That means you have done a pretty good job. So we can pat ourselves on the back because everyone here, including Aisha too, Sonia, Regina, and Muskan, and if I miss somebody else, I'm sorry. All of you guys, gals has really articulated our mission statement quite well for us. And our hope is to make sure that the Global South, which has us, as we say here, has a long history of colonization, and we have taken charge of its language AI with an effort to create a new world order on a past of colonization, because we cannot really erase that past, but we have to build it from there and make sure that we can reclaim our language histories, reclaim our language roots and the richness of our cultures, and make sure that the AI voice assistant that is being developed today actually speaks for us and, is a true representation of who we are. And as someone from the Global South, the word itself had a lot of, within our team, we had a lot of discussions on what the Global South is. Should we even use that? Because it has been used in a negative connotation by the Western world, by a Eurocentric, definition of it. The Global South was an economically bound term. Poorer countries were lumped together into the Global South. The Global South that they lumped together did not actually make the Global South. They added a few more countries from the Global North too to make up the Global South term. It has always been used in a very derogatory manner. But I am someone that is very proud to have come from the Global South to the Global North, which is part of the United States. So I felt like we agreed in the term that it is our rightful term here and we should reclaim that word. And that's why we named our entire affinity group as the Global South in AI meetup. And our goal is to have language translation models on the 3 tracks that we have picked, which is voice, data, and models. And people from the Global South who are developing solutions for it in their own way. And as Aisha too pointed out, since these are low resource languages, that we don't have the data sets and we have to make up those data sets now. We have to create those data sets. And when people who are trying to bridge the gap and are coming up with various new data sets, that is not being widely accepted by the research community. Because when I want a data set from an English language, I have my pick. I can go in any direction. It can be health data, finance data, city data, any data that I want to train my model. I have the resources that I need. But when somebody is trying to develop a language AI model on a language that is not part of the most widely used languages, they will have trouble. So they have to come and pick up data sets that are very unique. Someone I know picked up data sets from books written. People pick data sets from other, movie channels. And those things, when they come to a, research conference, people who are so used to seeing data sets that are more mainstream will actually reject those abstracts and those papers. Our goal is to make sure that doesn't happen. So that's why we welcome any data set, as long as it is, building upon your language model. Any model, that idea that is bringing up solving a solution in your community, and any voice assistant, ideas that you have and that you are working for, that is going to solve a local problem or issue within your community. So I will go to the 3 tracks. As you can see, voice, data, and models. We will accept proposals within language AI in one of those 3 tracks. And we have made the entry level as easy as possible. So it is only an abstract of that is 250 words worth. Not more than that's 250 words is just, I believe, is more like a 3 paragraph or one and a half paragraph, I think, of your solution. It can be a work in progress. You may have already built it. You may have done enough research on it, and whatever it is, if you found a problem statement and you found a solution for it, we want to know about it. So you can just submit this abstract to us, and we have the dates here. If anybody has any questions on those dates, I know the early abstract submission date of July 31st just passed. The only reason we had an early abstract submission is that we can inform people by August 16 so that they can start applying for visas if they are, coming from another country, and the visa processes, takes months to get there. Our last abstract, late abstract submission date is August 17, and the late abstract acceptance notification will be on August 31st. So August 17 is still coming up. If you haven't done so, you can submit here. After you submit an abstract, this is a double-blind review process. We have taken great, initiatives to make sure that it is fair to all. So we have made it double-blind. Double-blind means, the reviewers are blind to the authors and the authors are blind to the reviewers. Both sides are blind to each other, and only the program chairs have access to seeing everything. And that's why we program chairs will not be reviewing our abstracts. We will have independent reviewers who are experts in your field. We are trying to bring reviewers who have the same amount of diversity that we are going to see from the Global South. So we have taken great pains to pick reviewers who make up that population. And they will be the ones judging and peer reviewing. And once the abstracts are accepted, we will help you make a poster. And we have a poster session that, that is coming up, that we will have. There is a deadline for poster submission, which means that, we will help you within this time frame to make a poster. We will have a workshop. I don't see the date here, Sudha, but yeah, I think we will have a workshop on a poster workshop that we will help you develop your posters.
Susanna, it's September 10th.
It is September 10th.
Yeah, it's not here.
Oh, okay. Okay. Online for accepted. Okay. September 10th. We will have a workshop on that, and we will help you develop a poster. If you have never done one, we will help you do that. And those posters, the final posters, will be the ones that will be accepted to be displayed at NeurIPS. So if you have any more questions on this, and if the process is a little complicated, this is the time. This webinar is for you to ask questions on that. And we are still building up the FAQ. We have to put a lot more questions. After you ask your questions, we will develop this FAQ to be more in depth. But we have made it easy for you to reach any one of us at any of these, I think I can drop the email addresses too. So let me see. Yes, I will drop the email addresses where you can reach us, and you can reach me or Sudha or Yashuni or Pari or any one of us, and we will be able to answer all your questions apart from today's event. So now I will open up the floor for questions. You can put it in the chat, or you can open your mic and ask the questions directly.
I have a question, Suzanne. What's the word limit of each abstract?
What
word limit?
Word limit
for abstracts, yeah.
250.
250, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, 250. Is that not here? Let me check. Okay, I see we didn't put that here. Okay, we will correct it. Yeah, it is here. Abstract submission format, 250 words.
Yeah, thank
you. Can you submit your abstract? Sorry, Sonia. Go ahead.
I didn't see that, sorry.
No, that's fine. I know I miss it all the time too. So it's fine too. That's why we want you to ask those questions here. So it is 250 words. We don't have any font format requirements, all of that. You just take any Word document or Google document and put your 250 words and submit it as a PDF to us. We have used the Open Review conference venue. Open Review is used by most of the conferences, including NeurIPS. So we have decided to go with it, and we have started up a venue there with them. It must be blind for the open review process, which means your names cannot be on the abstract. But when you submit on the open review, you create a profile for yourself and your affiliation, everything goes on it, which the program says we will be able to see, but we don't want you to put that on your abstract. So we know it's coming from you. We know you are the authors, but it should not be on the abstract itself, so that when the abstract is seen by the reviewers, they have no idea who it is from. And so you click, yes, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. I had a doubt that since this is my first time submitting a research and that too into NeurIPS, I wanted to ask that I'll give just a brief description, an overview of what I want to submit, as rightly stated by Sudha. My abstract will be centered around a WIP project, and it's nothing groundbreaking. I mean, it's not like I'm trying to improve the state of the art, add on to it, but it's basically me using many NLP tools to create a language learning chatbot. So I wanted to ask you that, this is more of a project than me researching or making a system better. So do these kind of things, they go into research, because this is something I'm working on the ground and I'll be deploying it on the ground.
Okay. So I didn't get the question. Are you asking if that is something we accept or we don't, or?
Yes, I'm sorry. I know the question is quite abstract, no pun intended, but can the abstract be based on, my work is not improving on anything. It's not a groundbreaking research. It's just an NLP project, basically a chatbot for language learning. So do those kind of things go for research journals?
Yes, they do. As long as you're solving a local problem in your local language and trying to build a process for that. And if it is, as Sudha says, if it helps people and it involves languages, then submit it. Yeah, yes. If it is a language one and it is going to help a community of people that the rest of the majority of the AI community is not focusing on, that is something you can submit here. And it might fall into any one of those tracks, voice, data, or model. Yes, sure, go ahead, submit it. And you said something in the beginning that your work is not groundbreaking. When we assume such a word like saying my work is not groundbreaking, we are comparing ourselves to a groundbreaking project that has been publicized widely. And that one has probably been something that had all the access and all the privilege. And that's how a groundbreaking project is, determined by the majority. So our work may be groundbreaking, but since you're comparing it to the norm, it may not sound like that to you. So don't say that it's not groundbreaking. It is groundbreaking. If it is helping even a few members of your community, it is groundbreaking for them.
That makes so much sense. Thank you so much for clarifying.
And I will go to the chat because I see so many chats here. I want to make sure, Sudha, tell me if I have to focus on any questions. My personal goal, any questions in the chat? Okay. Bring people to a not published researches. So if you haven't published before, that is one thing that we want to encourage. You don't have to feel like I never published, so how will I get accepted? This is your first chance to get published. So, and this is also your first chance to present a poster at a major conference. So we would like you to submit. And
Susan, I have another question. Should people that submit their papers should have academic backgrounds, or from any backgrounds, they can send, even they don't have academic background. For example, somebody has diploma, but has an idea, has a idea. Does that person, can that person submit their papers or not?
Yes, of course. Yes, they can. We are not, we haven't made it anywhere, descriptive that, we want only academic professionals or industry researchers to publish here. No, we want anyone who's working within the community with solving a local problem to come and publish and submit an abstract to us. Yes, anyone. There will be no education qualification required by open review or by us. So I think it actually requires you to put your last educational institution when opening up an portal on a profile on open review. It will ask you to put your name and your last affiliation. It can be any affiliation. It can even be your high school name. And if you go, it won't be there in the drop-down menu. So you have to input the name, and then you under the drop-down menu, whatever you have put, let's say Santa Clara University, that will appear there. You need to click on that, and then that becomes your affiliation. And that's all. We don't have any barriers like that, that, says we have to accept only papers from academic or people who have already published. So anybody can submit. As Sudha points out in the chat, we have set an academic rigor with double-blind peer review, but we are open to everyone. The reason we set up an academic rigor is that we are open to everyone, but everyone has to be judged by a academic rigor standard, because it has to pass through something that is already established. Although there are problems with the establishment itself, we know that we have to have that in place. So that would be the goal of our reason for our academic rigor standards. It's nice to make sure that you're going through a standardized process, but we will make sure that the standardized process itself does not discriminate against you. So that's why we don't have an educational requirement. We don't have an academic affiliation requirement. We don't have anything like that, but your paper is not just going to be reviewed by us and then we accept whomever we like. It won't be like that. It will just go through a double-blind review process like any other conference papers out there. And somebody said, maybe have different categories of papers. There will be different categories of papers, but it will all fall into language, AI, and voice data and models. Could you also share your Twitter account so we can try to tag you and spread the word? Of course, let me see. My Twitter handle is, I think, 1 second, I will find it and put it in the chat. I think mine is at, okay. Yeah, that's my Twitter handle. Does Global South in AI have a Discord Slack server? We have a Slack server. Our amazing intern Paria Sareen actually put out a Slack server. Let me find that and share an invite here. 1 second. Okay, how do I share? I think yes, I will have a copy invite link. Okay, I put it in the chat here. I hope it works. If it doesn't work, ping me on LinkedIn or Sudha on LinkedIn and we will get you the Slack server. Discord, we have not opened up yet. I mean, if you think that's a good idea to open up, I can do that. Who will review papers? Will this be NeurIPS? No, it will not be NeurIPS. NeurIPS is like all conferences, major conferences out there. NeurIPS also has affinity groups, many affinity groups that they have established over the years.
in order to bring diversity in the research process. And one of those affinity groups you may have heard a lot is Women in Machine Learning, WIML, WIML, Women in Machine Learning, Black in AI, Latinx in AI, Queer in AI. So those are all the affinity groups that are participating at NeurIPS, at ICML, and all of those major tech conferences, AI tech conferences. And NeurIPS has a long history of bringing diversity to the global community by, making sure these affinity groups co-present and are co-located and have those workshops and socials and poster sessions. The poster sessions are actually your poster will be on the same platform as the posters from the NeurIPS conference. So NeurIPS is not going to review these papers. All the affinity groups who have established themselves will review those papers and will have their own processes for reviewing. Just like Women in AI and like Sudha says, Indigenous in AI, Black in AI, Queer in AI. Now we have Global South in AI. We are a new affinity group. This is our first year. This is our first meetup. And we don't want, just because usually of the first meetup, the first workshop at NeurIPS is usually very low-key, low profile, and it's done in such a way that it's almost like a community social, and people just submit abstracts, and the same people that see the abstracts review the abstracts and put up a poster. It's actually like let's say Sudha, me, and Yash, we could all submit a poster and go present at NeurIPS and call this our first Global South in AI meetup. That's usually how everything starts. There is nothing wrong with it. That's how usually the affinity groups get their starts. But we decided to go the way that, an affinity group that has grown in the last 5 years, we are trying to establish the same standards on the first year itself. So we are saying that we will be the program chairs, we will have area chairs, we will have ethics chairs, we will have double-blind peer review process. We will have a website. Most affinity groups do not have a website on their first year itself. WIML for a long time didn't have one. So it's something that we are trying to bring it to a much higher standard than other starts, but this is our first start. So we are not yet there at the level that we hope to be, but we have set the process in stage. So that's why, all these double-blind peer reviews, all these processes you are hearing about, but it is still an open affinity group. We will accept anyone who has an idea in language AI, who is working to solve a local community problem, and they can submit an abstract, and they will be put through the review process by the area chairs, the reviewers that we have picked, and the abstracts, if they are picked, they will be selected to present a poster, and there will be a poster workshop, and you can go present at NeurIPS. Did I make that clear, or did I go rambling on too much and confuse you all? Let me know. Okay, good. Thank you, Muskan. Paper. Bob has a question. Papers all fall within the context of NLP, but have categories, technical category, research paper, challenges on languages, ABC. What makes them different and difficult? This way, the discovery research will feel the technical community. Yes, of course. We have already started receiving a lot of submissions, and we are seeing such diversity in the challenges that they have picked to solve and the technical categories in which they have decided to solve those problems. So yes, we are seeing that, and it's going to be so interesting to see the final submission. Yes, Aisha, you can talk.
I have a question. The first one being, what does a poster look like? I know that you will do a workshop for those that will participate, but do you have an example? Do you have maybe a link that you could share in the chat so we can imagine what does such a poster look like? And my second point, it's not really a question, it's just something I wanted to elaborate on, I think it's important to note this call for submission is not just for programmers. It means if you're into ethics, you could probably also apply anything, any kind of background is accepted, right?
So you're saying into ethics, but it has to do with the language. Are you saying you're trying to solve an ethical problem in language development?
What I mean is, in order to submit a paper or to participate in this initiative, do you need to have coding? Do you need to be a coder, or could you try to solve the problem from another perspective? As you know, in AI ethics, or as you know, there could be different approaches in finding a solution that don't require computer programming experience, right? I don't know if I'm making myself understood.
I think I have. Let me read it back to you. So you're asking, like, if I come up with a solution and I don't have the coding skills behind to actually launch the solution, will I be still accepted? Is that what you're asking?
It goes in that direction. So what I'm trying to say is, you know, anybody could actually apply if they know how to find a solution, even if they themselves are not the coders.
Yes.
So if you know, yeah.
Yes, even if you are not the coder, but you have found a solution, but you don't know how to actually implement it technically, that's fine. But you have found a solution. We want to hear about your solution if it has to do with language AI. As long as you understand what language AI is and you have a solution for that. But I know that understanding, as you know, doesn't mean that you require coding skills. Is that
yes, exactly. I just wanted to talk about that again, because many times I see AI spaces where people feel shy to participate because they think they need to be coders or they need to be programmers in order to participate. But we need people with business acumen. We need people who have maybe an ethics background to also come up with the solutions.
Yes, of course. Yeah, that is exactly right. We are not trying. I mean, I think Sudha is also answering that data track is open for any application that solves a local problem. So no, we are not going to drill you with questions on your technical expertise. We are not going to ask you for a code. We are not asking how you will actually implement that solution itself in a technical way. But as long as you have a solution that is solving a problem, yeah, the data collection can be a data of language, recording, or text, or poem, or music. You are submitting a data set, and that can be one of those areas, as I told you. Could you please, okay, yeah, the submission website, so that I will share it. So yes, it can be anything. We are not going to make it technically heavy for, yes, so that's the one. Global South in AI, AI.org. It can be any of the, as you said, low resource languages. We have to use data sets that are not traditionally used by the mainstream. It has to be a song, a poetry book, or books that have been published in that language, and being able to take that and create a solution out of that. That's something that we are interested in looking at. I mean, it will not ask you to submit a code, or we will not ask you to show technical prowess within the submission category. And I wanted to share one of the posters, but I'm still finding it. So while I'm doing that, Sudha is, chatting, and if you have more questions, please put it in the chat. I will try to find a poster. I know I have my poster, which was submitted at NeurIPS through Data Ethics for All. We submitted one, but on hand, if I have it in my local drive, is another question. but if not, I will actually send it to you. I should do, and all of you, if I'm not able to find it in the few minutes that we have here, I will send it. Probably not. I think I deleted it.
Susanna,
Sudha. Oh, Sudha found it. Wow. That's good. She is fast. Let me share my screen so you can see. I should do. That's how a poster looks. And the feedback we received. Are you able to see my poster screen, or am I sharing a different one?
Yes, we can see it.
Yeah. So this was 2020 was a special year, as you all know. So our poster for 2020 Vimal, it was all virtual. And because it was virtual, we decided to use a lot more text and fewer images. But in a poster that is not virtual or virtual friendly and also in-person friendly, you would not be using this much text. You would be using a lot more images and diagrams and, visual representation of what the problem you are stating and a few words to explain it. So a poster is simply an infographic. Think of it like that. It's a very well-designed infographic. And depending on your solution, we will help you do that. And now our poster was on the AI hackathon that we held in 2020. We talked about the problem, the solution, the methods we used, the algorithm and the outcomes and the insights we learned and the next steps. So we had everything covered, which was traditionally covered in a full paper. But as far as this Global South in AI is concerned, it doesn't have to have all of these elements. If you have even the problem and the solution and you don't even know whether you have the methods to do it or the algorithm to do it, outcomes, and the insight, it can be a work in progress. So we would be happy to make sure that, it is whatever abstract is being selected, we will work with you to develop a very eye candy like poster. I mean, this poster, I worked on it, so I am thinking this is very good. But, if we can develop something even better than this, that has all the information that is needed for the public to actually understand your solution visually. So that's what a poster does. An abstract, a full paper is not as visual as a poster. A poster is supposed to help you understand the problem within a few minutes. It's more like I find it, because I do paintings in taking meaning from abstract concepts into paintings. I call it laconic meanings. So that basically, to me, a poster is like that. You stand in front of something for 5 minutes and the person gets everything that you did for the last 6 months. And they are like understanding a complex concept in as few minutes as possible. So that's what a poster is supposed to do, and we will help you do that. And this was a virtual conference. So we know people can zoom in and zoom out and read all the text. So we went with more text, and our feedback, somebody who was attending only in-person conferences came back and said, this is a lot of text for a poster. We said, yes, we know that. And because it was virtual, we went with more text. Usually they won't see this much text in a poster. So I'm going to, okay, stop sharing. Okay, where do I go? Here. More questions, I think. Can our abstract? Oh, go ahead. I should do.
Sorry. So that means in the conference, it will be in person, so we could do a bigger poster. Is there a size limit of how
yes,
big
the NeurIPS has those size limits. I believe it was 24 into 36, I think. Although I'm not sure, I can look it up for you. You can also look it up if you go to NeurIPS. You can find out the poster sizes. We will help you. If it is selected and you are one of those presenting, we will make sure the size requirement is met and your poster looks good, and how to print it and where to print it and how to take it with you if you're traveling by flight. It's a lot of work, but we will help you do that. Can
So
our abstract be? Go ahead. Yes.
Apologies. I thought I just asked one last question. So basically, it could, like, I'm an artist, so if I wanted to, I could make like a visual representation of the different elements that I want to explain, and then we will be presenting our paper. So of course, then we will use the words to explain what everyone is seeing, and that could be a way, right? Like graphic recording, you know, to have these like to use illustrations and doodles and so on to explain the problem and solution. That would also be possible with with a little bit of text.
Yes, yes, definitely. And since you are an artist, I'm so excited if you ever get selected for the poster session. I will be so excited to see your poster. So yeah, that would be nice because posters are a visual information board that, you know, you are visually representing your work. The whole paper, people actually take their whole paper. That paper is sometimes 9 or 10 pages long, and then converting into one poster, you know, if it is 24 by 36, that's a not lot of space for you to put in all your information. So you try to visually convey that information in as little words as possible. So yes, some creative liberty can be taken in making sure your poster is, you know, visually enticing. And that's, can our abstract be considered as a condensed version of our poster? Yes, Muskan, that is exactly what it is. And your abstract will be a condensed version of your poster. Thank you so much for everything. I have to go now. Thanks, Regina. I think she already left. And any other categories, any other questions about categories, and, you know, any other doubts that you have?
Yes, I had one doubt. Two rather. One is that yes, the Slack link, maybe it was broken. So I'll definitely connect with you over LinkedIn or Twitter, and maybe then you could share it with me.
Oh yes, oh, it is broken. Okay, sorry. Okay, I will definitely share it with you. I will find out and share it with you.
Thank you.
You are connected to me, right?
Unfortunately, I'm not, but I'll do right after the meeting.
Okay, sure.
And the second doubt was that I want to get into the community so that when the submission date is approaching, which I think is pretty soon, 17th, wanted to share my abstract with someone, you know, just for advice. So that's precisely why I was looking for a community wherein I could hit someone up over direct message and yes, basically pitch out my idea to them.
Yes, since we, the program chairs, will not be the ones reviewing your abstract, and the abstract reviewing process itself is double blind, we can look at your abstract before it is submitted. But after it is submitted, we will not be able to give you any guidelines, any insight on it. So it has to be before you submit it. We can look at it and give you some insights and feedback on it. Any one of those program chairs, which is Sudha, me, Ashwini, and Pariya Sareen, who's our intern helping, but you know, any one of us can help you. Sudha and me are better suited for it. We can help you look at it.
Got it. Thank you very much.
Yes, after you submit, we will not provide any guidelines to you.
Definitely, yes. Thank you.
And all the emails, everything Sudha is dropping there, and I will make sure that it is also dropped somewhere in LinkedIn. Thank you, Bob. Thanks for coming. And if I missed anything in the chat, let me know. I didn't look at the chat.
So just a quick question, Susanna, just to summarize, we can submit our abstracts based upon voice, data, corporate text, for example, or image data sets. They're the three paths. That's correct?
That's the 3 paths, yes.
Right, okay. Thank you.
Also applications, like Sam says, yeah. Voice, maybe we can put that in the website. Voice includes applications as well.
Okay. Thank you.
So, sorry.
Yes.
So a chatbot, which is totally text based, it would come under the category of applications or models.
Applications, I think.
Got it. Thank you.
Yes. Thanks, Sonia, Aishatu, and Muskan, and Sam, and everyone who was here. Mike, who already left, Mike, Bob, and Babby, and Regina. And if I missed any names, I'm sorry. But thanks all of you for being here and for asking your questions and for giving us clarity on our initiative. Thank you so much. And that's
Thank
a
you so
wrap.
much.
Thank you. Yes, Sudha, you want to wrap up? I will try to save
Thank
the
you,
chat.
everybody. Bye.